This is Waffle Talk. We just watched episode, I don't even know what number we're on anymore. Was it
87.
87?
Oh, wow.
All right, can somebody... Oh, so I'm Sean. With me is Annalise, Shauna, and our special guest, Kayla Cline. Thank you very much for coming. Kayla is an awesome artist who's doing a lot of work with Holly. Kayla, can you tell us some of the stuff you're working on right now?
Well, I just did all of the art for Trapped in the Birdcage, which is Holly's game that she's DMing. And currently we're working together on a Strix graphic novel, which I announced this past Sunday officially. So it's really cool. So
Strix graphic novel. And you said that's going to be self-published?
Yes, that's what we've been talking about. As far as I know, that's still the case. So we'll publish that and have that available for purchase when it's done. Hopefully this year still. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for.
And this is going to be like a physical book?
Yes.
Okay, and can you say what it's like? What anything about it, like the story?
Yes, it is kind of a prequel. It is about Strix meeting Baba Yaga and learning magic, and it's written by Holly. Holly wrote everything, so it's definitely canon. And I'm doing all the art and everything. So
Baba Yaga, that is going to be
awesome.
awesome.
Yes, I'm real excited.
Yeah, that is really awesome. And you actually, you had some pages of the art, I believe. Let's see.
Yes, just the rough inks I scanned up so that way they could be shared tonight so people can see. So.
All right, here's page 1, which I believe you shared elsewhere, correct?
Yes, I streamed inking that one on Sunday. So people may have probably saw that one.
So Strix in the woods. Freaking out.
Yeah.
as she is
brand.
As she is wont to do. All right. That's awesome. The detail is insane. Like who are your for your art, who are your your inspirations? Like do you have any artists in particular that you really like?
Definitely I share with Holly that we both love Tony DiTerlizzi. Very big influence for me, like all growing up and everything. I also really like James Jean. He is a really great artist. He did the poster work for Shape of Water, if you've seen that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and I also love Holly's work too. I think she's great. So, and all my friends I'm inspired by constantly. So I just try to stay current and take in media and give out media.
All right, and that's page 1, but you also shared with us page 2. I'm gonna fire that one up. Let's see if I can get that going. There we are. Page 2 is she's really freaking out now.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I've drawn a lot of Strix freaking out and crying and screaming and running. A lot. We're not even done yet.
That's freaking awesome. That's really cool. Do you know how many pages this is going to be total?
I have about 24 now, and I think that's a third, but I don't know if that's going to change or not. So maybe between 70 and 100 or so, but maybe more. Just depends, I guess, on how the storytelling goes.
Wow. That's nice. Freaking awesome. All right. And you said you were actually working on the 3rd page while you were watching Dice Camera Action today, right?
Yes, yeah. It was a little hard to focus because there's a lot of sad feelings.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Right?
But overall, the episode was not quite as sad as I was expecting.
Yeah.
It started out.
Yeah, it got.
Really
thank you.
It did. It started out super sad. That song in the beginning, that Anna actually sang that song. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
That was a tribute she had done to Anna. It's not a tribute Anna had done to Evelyn and to the show last week after everything that happened.
It's amazing. She's very talented.
Yeah, it was.
Everybody on that show is very, very talented. You know, they can do all sorts of stuff. You know. So Shauna, can you recap? I missed the last 10 minutes. I was setting this up. Can you recap the show?
Yep, I'll quickly recap it. So yep, forget that. Indeed, yes, the soulmonger is death curse is over, and Evelyn is indeed dead. So after grieving, they see a vestige of death, which I thought was Sarek, but ended up being actual death. Evelyn spent time in the afterlife with Zeres and a child named Dortimer, and the 3 living Waffle crew members manage to bargain with death, or basically deceive death, and find their way back to this plane as they use Strix's plan of polymorphing into a bunch of mice and end up in a tunnel with the 3 hags that visited them in their sleep that installed the soul worms, and that's where we ended it. So
I remember towards the end, Strix had fallen into a pit of dead bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how did they get from there to the hags?
Where the dead bodies were falling from was the shadow, crossing.
Was there anything else in that room? Because it's that similar to the room that's in the tomb, but it was different. Like, was there like a green devil face in the room or anything like that?
No, I think it was just the corpses.
So they popped out by the hags, and that was where. So what? All right. So Kayla, what'd you think of this episode? Like, was it? The show's been in my opinion, the show just keeps getting. It's on a real uptick. You know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm always constantly impressed by Chris and how he throws in it's really sad and then it's really silly and it just flows. It still flows very, very well. Mm-hmm. Like the last episode was so good. I was like, this cannot be better. But it was really good. It was right. It was the right amount of silly. Like Holly said, it was like a Monty Python skit there for a little bit, but it worked. Mm-hmm. It worked.
Look, it could have been like super. I mean, they were crying in the beginning, weren't they?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes.
I've never seen a D&D game like that where they're so into it to that level where, it's very interesting. It's like a whole new style almost of D&D, Annalise, what did you think of this one?
I thought that it was such a unique episode in that it had the aftermath of a very significant character death, but also proving that there is still hope and that Evelyn is not done for. And there were very sad moments, especially with Strix's monologue and her prayer to Lathander. But then those slapstick comedy moments of Paulson doing the most bardish thing possible and trying to convince one of the gods of death that he's under some kind of compulsion. That was probably a highlight for me. Mm-hmm. And it just has me thinking, which god of death is that? Because there's quite a lot in D&D. If it's must be one of the nicer ones.
Silverhood actually asked, do you think death and the other deaths it mentioned will be in the newest book? That is a weird thing. I know I think that's a Terry Pratchett thing, right? There's at least one death. But like in D&D, I know in the second edition Baba Yaga's Hut, there was a death that Baba Yaga actually captured death. So I don't know, maybe he's doing that, but I don't know what that is. I don't know. Maybe I just haven't. I don't. I have no idea.
Well, it did seem oddly specific. Like I was like that. Like you said, you feel like it's got to lead to something, but maybe not. Maybe it was just silly.
And it got caught by the Balhanoth, right?
Yes.
So it's not that powerful, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Don't know exactly what that was. Yeah.
Shauna, what did you think of this episode?
I liked it. It's interesting how they kind of like, start off sad, but kind of like rein it in before it gets like overwhelmingly sad. And I always enjoy when Chris takes a character and kind of like sequesters them off to their own little encounter, like what Evelyn in the afterlife was. Actually, it was super enlightening. I liked it. I like that her meaning with the angel and everything like that. It's cool.
How is Evelyn gonna come back from that? Like, she's dead.
Resurrection.
Yeah. Well, she's dead and there's no body. So like, what are they gonna? You know what I mean? Like, how's this?
Well, there is a body of sorts. I mean, when we know that her soul came back to her construct body when she was resurrected in Barovia.
Mm-hmm.
It'll either be resurrection or maybe true resurrection. I think that the hags might have some role to play with this. That Chris has definitely put them there for a reason, and I think there's going to be a few twists and turns coming up in the next episode, especially given that they're at the abode of the Stone Sisters, who are the specific hags who put the soul lava inside 3 of the members of the Waffle crew. So maybe we'll meet the evil clones. Maybe we'll have some kind of forced resurrection of Evelyn. We don't know.
The pancake crew, right? They'll meet like the twisted mutant version of Evelyn trapped in a cage, maybe something like that. That would be horrible. I don't know. I totally don't want to.
I mean, she might be safe from that because she's the only one so far that hasn't been like interacted with them at all.
Juicy says the death creature sounded like a servant of the domain of death, maybe a new foe in Morty Cordy's tome. Maybe, yeah, I don't know, man. No idea. So yeah, that's where they ended up then in this. So they're in the Stone Sisters spot. Did he describe a door? Was there a door in the room that they went to? A really weird big door. Do you remember? I missed that part.
Don't think so.
Weird. Huh.
This was basically like them stepping through a portal.
Interesting. So in the beginning, Evelyn, I thought that was a really good song. I thought that was really good. It was like shocking. I was like, is that Anna? You know, and then it showed on the credits it was Anna. I was like, oh my god. So then it looks like Holly had actually prepared that prayer in advance. Am I right on that, you think?
Yeah, it seemed like it, and it's based upon like, Evelyn's prayers, right? So it's just yeah, that was, I mean, it was like she had it memorized. It was really good. Very touching.
Do you think the group like is slowly creeping towards all of them gaining faith in Lathander?
I don't think so. I think, as discussed before, I think the whole thing with Lathander is that they don't necessarily believe in him, but they believe in Evelyn, and that's where they get their faith from.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, I mean, as Holly has said on the show before, if Strix had to be in one of the Planescape factions, she'd probably be part of the Aethar, who are the ones who don't believe in the powers and want to bring them down.
Lightning Fast says the next episode might be called the Craped Crusaders instead of entirely possible, I suppose. The Waffle Crew with inverted personalities. God, that would be so weird. Pancake Brigade. Super boasty, selfish Diath. I feel like I don't talk about Diath enough on this show. He's very like he's kind of the rock of the group, would you say?
He is their straight man. If you were to look at them in terms of a comedy group, and he's, as Evelyn said, he is their shepherd. He's sort of the one who is guiding them on the right path. It is, I guess, also herding them.
Yeah.
it's like herding cats.
His character stuff tends to be a lot more like subtle and a little bit kind of like like low key, as far as it's not as flashy, but it's very intense, and I love how Jared plays him.
So Kayla, did you want to talk with us a bit about how you got into DCA and a bit about your favorite characters?
Well, I got into Dice Camera Action from following Holly, and Strix is definitely my favorite. I mean, I've drawn her like 50 plus times by now in the past like week alone. So definitely Strix. I think my second favorite is Evelyn for sure. I love Strix and Evelyn. I love their friendship. I love their dynamic most out of anything in the show. Yeah, pretty much that's it.
are you on the Evelyn Paulton ship train thing?
I don't really super ship anyone. I did some like shippy art recently, but mainly it's just the characters having quiet moments together. I think that's more important.
What was the shippy art?
I had one where Strix is teaching DF how to sew, and it was just like a cute little thing like that. They're just having like a little moment. And then I have one where Paulton is tuning Evelyn's heartstrings, like opening up her chest, her robot chest, and like tuning them because he'd be the best one to do that. I was like, yeah, it'd be cute. So
that's really good. Yeah.
But no, I'm not super shippy about it, unfortunately. Sorry, guys.
Your art has a really distinctive style. It is a bit Tony Detail-y, but it's also very much your own. Did you want to talk with us and with the viewers a bit about your process, or like how did you get into art, or the specific type of art that you do?
I've always drawn comics since I was little. I went to college to do comics. I took a lot of classes on it. Stylistically, I've just developed over the years. This is just how I interpret things. Anything you want to know about how I draw, or like the process in making a comic, or anything like that? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'd love to know, like, how do you get from sketch to the finished color? Because I know I can get a sense of that, but a lot of our viewers who may not necessarily do art or do that specific type of art might want to know.
Okay. Well, I could talk about, with this situation in particular, Holly kind of just wrote a story. Like, I got a section of the story, and I went through and broke that down visually into what would individually work as pages. So it'd be like Strix runs in the woods and then finds a thing, and then I can break that into 3 pages of like 3 panels of running, et cetera, et cetera. So it's important to break down the script, and then I do little thumbnails based on that. And then I resketch them larger. And I showed, I think in the stream Sunday, the thumbnails, and I tweeted on Sunday the reference sheet I made for myself so I could keep Strix drawn the same every time. That's important when you're doing a comic, is having good reference to stay consistent.
Now, what I've been amazed about so far with what you've shown us is just the consistency.
Thank you.
Amazing.
I feel like I struggle with that so bad, so thank you.
I'm not very consistent, so it's something I've always struggled with art. So seeing anyone else do it, I'm always gobsmacked.
Oh man, that's the hardest part about doing a comic, is like, you're going to draw a face in one panel and you need to draw it the same way in the next one, and that's harder than you think because you can't just trace it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's so hard.
Yeah, I had a question. How did this whole enterprise with Holly come about, this whole comic book thing?
Enterprise? Well, actually, I tweeted, I think it was like a year ago, I was like, I love doing comics, but I hate writing stories. I like it, but I can never finish it. And Holly was like, eyeball emoji. And then I sent like 3 eyeball emojis to her, and then we just like got into connected with each other and started talking about it. So that's literally all it was.
Wow. This goes back that long, huh?
Yeah, I think it's been like a year since before. Wow, yeah, it's been a while. It took, we've been chatting about it, and we chatted about a couple different ideas, and then the Strix one is what we moved forward with. So, yeah, it's exciting.
That is freaking awesome. All right.
And for people who may not know, you also do the art for Trapped in the Birdcage, which is the show that Holly DMs.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about that? I know that you have a love for Planescape as well.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have asked me kind of what went into doing the art for that. I think the best part about doing that job, I guess, is I was given different levels of character completion to draw the characters on. Chad gave just a backstory for reader and kind of a certain idea of how he wanted them to look, and I just kind of had to throw myself into that. Hadil gave me a Pinterest board. It was just like, this is the feel I want for Nejma, and I was like, okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so some of these were just pulled from the ether, and it was such a fun project. So I feel like they're totally their characters, but I kind of feel like these are my children too. Like, I love them so much.
You did the logo too, the like the bird style logo.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So
Holly did the lettering. That was just like a silly conversation where I was like, she was like, I need a logo, and I was like, what if it was a pigeon but Lady of Pain? And she was like, what if it's a raven skull though? And I was like, yes, definitely.
Awesome.
I got a few questions in chat here for you.
Okay.
ID Buddy says, how much did you look at the Planescape art to pull inspiration for the feel of it?
I did not look at anything directly while I was working. I've just looked at so much Planescape art. Like it's a huge influence on me, so it's just innately in my brain. That's pretty much what it is. It's like it's a huge influence on me. So.
And Silverhood also has a question saying, where did your idea for the Coffee Witch comic come from? So people who may not be aware, Kayla's done lots of comic work and lots of very magical stuff. And did you want to talk about your Coffee Witch comic? Because I feel like that was a good lead up to the whole Strix comic enterprise.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I did that. That was actually a submission for an anthology that I don't even know if it's happening or not. But basically, it was just like kind of a shameless self-insert. It's kind of, the character was supposed to be kind of me, but not, and mainly was influenced by Kiki's Delivery Service. I love that film, and I was like, I want to do something similar with a witch and like some kind of bakery, but not. So I was like, oh, I love coffee. Coffee Witch. So everyone thinks it's Holly though, so whatever. Fine.
All right, what we got here? Go ahead.
You do have some resemblance to Holly that some people have pointed out in the past. Which do you think that's your shared interest in everything has helped you work better together?
Oh yeah, like I feel like we're definitely on the exact same wavelength that sometimes it's ridiculous. Like she came into my stream on Sunday and I was like, Star Trek though, and she was like, yes. Men in Black, and she was like, yes. So it's just, we get along very well, so it works out really well.
All right, Abrams X, in regards to the death figure they encountered, I'm reminded of the Avatar of Death that can be summoned in the deck of many things. It's true. Deck you can summon death. So yeah, that is one. I mean, there's Nero, right, the old god of death, who was basically like death. So these could be avatars of Nero
and then
or something.
Forgotten Realms has at least 3. There's Bane, Bahal, and Merkel. Then there's also Kelemvor. There's a lot of gods of death, and you've got the Raven Queen and everything else, and.
And everybody loves the Raven Queen 100%.
And they're all gods of different deaths. Like Bahal is the god of murder. Then Merkel was a different type of death. They all represent different aspects of it. So it doesn't feel like in Forgotten Realms, at least, it doesn't feel like there is a single god of death. Merkel is the god of the dead, so the people who have died.
All right, what do we got here? Lightning Fast asks, I think this is actually for Annalise. When did you decide to make the switch to watercolors?
Oh, this is for Kayla.
Oh, it's for Kayla.
Yeah.
When did you switch to watercolors?
I talked about this on my stream, and apparently people were surprised, but really this past December was when I started using watercolors. December, I was like, I'm just going to watercolor everything. So it hasn't been that long. So trust me, you can get great at anything with practice.
That's
definitely.
Teacher Lizzie did watercolors, right? That was his.
Yeah, and he uses a lot of gouache, I think, too, which I don't really use. Yes. It scares me.
I use a lot of gouache.
Gouaches. Yeah.
It frightens me.
So I'm really interested in seeing the advice Zeres gave Evelyn impacts her in the future, assuming she comes back. Zeres laid some serious insight on her and stuff that Evelyn could really, really learn and grow from. I'm excited to see that impact. Zeres, the insight. Zeres was basically encouraging Evelyn to focus less on Lathander and more on her own powers.
Yes,
correct?
Happiness.
She was giving her a serious self-care lesson today. And which we've seen Evelyn a lot in the past say that no, she's not important. She has to serve her cause. She has to serve her god. She has a divine duty, a quest, but she doesn't focus on herself, which is why she never pursued, like what Anna was saying in our past interview with her, which you can watch on the channel. Evelyn doesn't feel like she deserves love because she feels like that's not a part of her duty. Yeah. So I personally hope that this sort of no pun intended, but enlightens her a bit with how to move forward and kind of be her own person. Yeah. And be the light for herself, not just other people.
Because I think, that whole for herself, like taking care of herself, has always been like a source of guilt for her. It seems like whenever she focuses, it kind of takes focus over her devotion to Lathander, and like when they said it's okay, it's gonna be like a weight off her. Like she doesn't have to feel as guilty about it because that's Lathander's blessing on that whole thing.
Was she ever happier than when she was a werewolf? That was the happiest time of her life.
Well, she saw Morning Glory as a Pegasus today, so she was very happy about that.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, she got to meet Saint Andral as well.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. We got a bunch. Let's see. Silverhood, what do you think the angel Evelyn talked to you, mentioning how he's been keeping an eye on her and her friends? Do you think he was talking more about Diath with his angelic heritage? That's a good question.
I'm in two minds about this personally. I think that maybe he's keeping an eye on Evelyn specifically because he's been sent to watch over her by Lathander, perhaps. Or maybe he's connected to Diath, but like to me that seems a little bit more like a stretch.
I kept thinking that it might have something to do with maybe there's like elevated like positioning in like the blood war. Maybe it's become more volatile in some way. Possibly. Yeah.
Looks like Lightning Fast has a question for Scarlet Moth and Kayla. Did any scenes from this episode stand out? Like, I gotta draw this right now. Did they?
And I suppose we can also ask this one to Shauna, because for people who don't know, Shauna is also an amazing artist and has done lots of DCA fan art. So go follow her. Kayla, what do you think?
I think that I got that impression immediately at the beginning. Like the way Chris described Evelyn's bliss and like being a child with her father and stuff, I was like, oh man, I hope someone draws all this because this is so touching. I couldn't capture that very well. I'm more like, I should draw Strix in a pile of dead bodies. Like,
that would be awesome.
It was great. Yeah, I know. I was like, I want to draw that, but the first bit would be good too because that's real touching. It was really sweet.
What do you think, Annalise?
For this episode, I'm really not sure, because there have been scenes from other episodes where I've been like, I have to portray this. Like specifically, what comes to mind for me is the whole the blood pool with Dendar's nightmare, which I painted.
My favorite. Yeah.
For this one, I don't know, maybe reanimating Evelyn's body.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Or just all the mice peeking out of Strix's hat.
Yeah.
What about you, Shauna?
I think I personally kind of like gravitate toward the really sad stuff. So yeah, maybe like Strix trying to grapple with Evelyn's death. But I think either Strix maybe with Juniper or something like that, or like I think the imagery with Evelyn in the afterlife is super cool. I think like with the angel and stuff. Yeah.
You should just like she should be riding the Pegasus and there's like a rainbow, you know.
Let her be happy.
Yes. We swim happy.
Casey, every time Evelyn has mentioned not being important or being a tool for the Sun Boy, It breaks my heart so much. I totally agree. Evelyn is like, doesn't understand. I don't know how to put it. She kind of undervalues herself, I feel like. But she's humble, which I guess a servant of a good deity should be. But too humble. I don't know how to. Does that sound right?
I feel like a lot of it is also left over from her past, with like her own schooling in paladinry, and being told your whole life is to serve this god. You're just a tool. Both now, the Waffle crew are sort of teaching her that there is more to life than the power you serve.
It seems sort of like it's almost like Lathander is trying to teach her that, which is kind of weird, right? But interesting. You've devoted too much of yourself to me. You know, it's kind of like I've never, that's a weird kind of a thing. You know.
Well, he is a neutral good god, and he has been shown to care before with like all the gifts he's given to Evelyn, and the fact that Saint Andral did say that Lathander really does love Evelyn, and it's, I suppose, almost the way I see it is Lathander trying to look out for his child.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. I think of I don't know. I used to be a big fan of Christopher Hitchens, and he would always talk about how some people, deities are kind of, in his perspective, deities were kind of like these dictators. And it was weird because it was like we're almost kind of sort of dancing around with that just a tiny, tiny bit, where it's like, but the deity himself is saying, hey, take it easy on my thing here, I've never seen that in D&D before. It was very, very, it was just different. It kind of took me back for a second. Let's see, Silverhood. When Death mentioned that Dustman was a great band, yes, I had the exact same feeling. Casey wants a werewolf riding a Pegasus in heaven right now. I would love to see Evelyn be the first of like the holy werewolves, like Radiant Pomeranian Brigade. How cool would that be? Like kind of like Blink Dogs, but they can transform into humanoid forms. That would be freaking awesome.
Blink Dog would also be a good name for a band.
Yes,
a lot of
time. Yes. Anna's reaction when her dad was throwing her in the air. That was weird. That was a memory, right?
Yes.
What was that?
I felt like it was a moment of pure joy for her as she was ascending.
Mega Hammy. What are the chances of sainthood right now? I would say 0 right now, right? It's a little too early, would you say? Well, although, you know what? A saint is usually granted sainthood because they did some great deed. Is that right? Isn't it always granted? Well, it's funny. Isn't it always granted after they die? But technically, she did die, right?
Died.
So maybe now actually would be the time, right?
Yeah. I believe in real life, sainthood is granted for like miracles or martyrdom. So Evelyn's already achieved both of those.
Yeah.
Maybe she should be a saint. That would be.
She's definitely done a lot.
So, was she 10th level? They're 10th level right now.
Yeah, 10th level.
10th level.
It's high enough. You saint. Let's see.
I think that's the aim for 20th level. You've got you've got Invisible DF, One Man Band Polton, Archmage Strix, and Saint Evelyn.
Yes. Great.
Yes.
It has been mentioned in some of the D&D YouTube videos that Mordenkainen follows a philosophy of true neutrality, and that the Blood Wars one of the biggest keys to keeping the balance. So it is possible the Lorcatha. You're right. The Lorcatha thing is going to tip that. You're probably right. They've got the balance going, and that's why they've got the. What's it called? The compact or something? The Ashton.
The Ashton.
The compromise or accord.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably exactly right. Maybe that. It's funny. Actually, now that I think about it, if they're coming out with Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, I would imagine we're gonna have Mordenkainen as a guest star in the show.
Oh
soon,
yeah, I imagine.
right?
Yeah, I imagine.
I'm
it's
so
gotta be at some
excited.
point.
So excited for more Sam Witwer.
Yes.
Which also was announced today that he's helping write a book about some D&D art and history, which is coming out in October, which I'm very excited to get my hands on.
Yeah, the copy
Yeah.
paperback. Yeah.
Yes.
Super cool.
D&D Art and Arcana, I believe it's called.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. It's the Ashton Concordance. Or Concord.
Good.
All right, Casey. I feel like the Clipped Wings Diat scene was probably a. Oh, okay. I have to draw this. Yeah.
Now, with touching on Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, I think that Chris was definitely hinting at we're probably going to be seeing a bit more of that introduced in the last 3 episodes of this season, which we do only have 3 episodes left before we go on break. It seems like he was hinting at big stuff happening next week, so I really think that we are going to see a lot more to do with the Skizzics and the Lorcatha Schism, and we're going to see stuff from Nerdy Curdies. Especially because there's stuff about the Blood War, there's stuff about like interplanar conflict, which Night Hags would be involved in. Night Hags are a type of fiend. They come from the Grey Wastes and in the lower planes. So,
Kayla,
who knows?
Kayla, who is your favorite guest star? If you had to pick one, who would be your favorite?
Probably Murdy Curdy, because I remember that the best.
Yeah.
He was so good. Like his voice acting, and the way he characterized him. What was his name again? Was
Sam Witwer?
Sam Witwer.
Yes, thank you. Yes, he was amazing. Like that's the one that I remember the most. Like that whole, and I don't know why. And I wanted to say Ross for a second, but that's shameful.
Well, at least we didn't get the Danny DeVito version of Ross.
I like Danny.
I was like, in my brain, I was like, don't say Ross, don't dab. I didn't.
Something which amazes me is that so many people who have been guests on the show are fans of the show as well. Like Lisa Lee, who played Arabelle, is actually following the show and is now like following the progress of the zine. And you've got people like other Sam. God, I've forgotten
character name.
The Drow.
God, that's
the author, Sam Sykes. Is that what
Sam Sykes.
Yes, Sam Sykes.
Yes.
He's like the most clever person. Have you ever read his Twitter?
His Twitter is so good.
Yes.
It's so good.
His Twitter is why I bought his books.
Yeah, really?
He's fantastic. I'm reading the first one in his new series right now, and it's really good. It's super good. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10.
It's like every day he posts some tweet that's like really incredibly like just like how do you? And every day he does it. It's like, geez, dude, it's like it's amazing. His brain is he's just like boom. He's fun. He's a very funny person.
I like that this show has introduced me to new people to follow, but also this community sort of this show has fostered this kind of community feeling where even the people who are on the show, you feel a sense of kinship with them, and you're still like fans of the same thing. Even the players like Holly and Jared, Anna and Nate, they're all still fans of the show, and
like the fans, like as time goes on, like even in our chat here, like Casey, you know, like her fiction is freaking awesome, and then like the zine games that are going on, you know, I played in one of those. Every single that's what's amazing about Dice Camera Action is like everybody who's into it is a very creative person, and they have a lot to offer creatively in like different venues, you know what I mean? Like everybody's like a two-tool player, you know, like they don't just draw, they can draw and sing and act, and it's just the show really draws in these really creative, like inspired people, you know, and as time goes on, it's like more you kind of collect this pool of like really it's really amazing. And like in the chat there's a whole bunch of people who run their own games, you know, each of you is a tremendous artist. All of you are tremendous artists, and it feels like in a few years time all of you are going to be like your own. I don't I'm tooting your horns, but you're all going to be a big thing. You know what I mean? It feels like we're at the bottom of something that's something good is going to grow out of all of this. You know what I mean? What's going on right now, and it's really awesome.
I mean, with looking at what Kayla's done as well, that wouldn't have come about had like Holly not been so involved with the show and with this community. And you like looking at projects like yours and like the zine, where you do have this massive like force behind it and this all this community involvement, it really does feel like this show is a force for good.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed about the community, it's very supportive as well. Everyone's very positive. Everyone's pushing each other to, like, be the best that they can, and so it's wonderful.
Compared to a lot of other things I've seen online, it's very not toxic. Like there was one toxic dude on Twitter a week or two ago, and he got completely swarmed by like everybody on Twitter, which is probably what he wanted. But whatever, I mean, it was an interesting display where nobody had that guy's back from what I could see, and it was just like, and it's interesting. The people that are drawn to D&D are very, everybody's on the same page, kind of. They're all very just nice people. You know what I mean?
I feel like with this show, it's creating a new generation of players as well. Just the same way that Critical Role and C-Team and other shows have, but this feels a bit different. It's something I mentioned last week. It's showing that you don't need to be in person or have Roll20 or have a game board to be able to tell amazing stories with your friends. And this is a class act lesson in how to role play. I mean, looking at them as a group, yes, amazing role playing, but even just as individuals, it's a fantastic lesson to take away. And the fact is that no, you don't always need to be a hero, and yes, you are going to make mistakes, just as in real life, and you have to learn from them.
A bajillion questions here. All right.
Got a bit real there. Sorry.
It's good.
No problem.
It's like, that's to me the biggest thing about this show is that it's like there was Critical Role, huge, right, ginormous. Now we have the second thing where everybody else is coming up, and like Dice Camera Action was kind of out in front, and it's so interesting because it's, for me, it's a new style of D&D where the emphasis is on different things. And I mean, I've seen role-playing groups before, but I've never seen a group like this where they're so into the pure story and they think about their characters. Usually, maybe that means I'm a crappy DM, but in my games I'll have one player like that who's into their character, and they'll send me like letters during the week or whatever. Every single player in this game is 100% in, and they're thinking about it all the time, and it's just like, it's such a cool thing to see.
DMs would dream of having emotional attachment and commitment like that. Like if you had characters like this who thought about the characters outside the game so much, that's a blessing to any DM, because it means you have to do less work as well. Now, I want to ask each of you about your own play styles and how that you've learnt from this show, Dice Camera Action. Probably going to start with our super amazing, talented guest today. So, you've actually started playing in online games, and was that in part due to Dice Camera Action?
Yeah, I will be starting in one. I'm going to be, I guess I can say this, I'm going to be in one of the new Encounter RP games starting the end of April. Wow. I think, they're going to start teasing those starting Sunday, I think. So I won't say which one I'm in, but yeah, and I think it is because of watching Dice Camera Action and watching you guys and watching your games, Sean, and everything. I was just like, I can do this. Like, why not? Like, why not give it a shot? So I think it kind of made me buck up and have the courage, like, why not try it? So that's what it's done for me, I feel like. And I think it's going to be a good experience. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to bring up, actually, is that more so than Critical Role, DCA seems to have made D&D accessible.
Yeah.
That, you don't need to be amazing actors or have all these different tools. You just need a character and a dungeon master.
That's very true. Like I never really super got into Critical Role because it seems very overwhelming to me. But that's another thing is like it does seem kind of inaccessible because they are voice actors and they're very good at what they do, and that's not the level I'm on at all. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, DCA definitely feels the most, as far as performative, the most like at the table, like the most awesome, like at the table feeling. Like it still feels attainable, but it's still super like interesting as a dramatic show.
Yeah.
Because I mean, a lot of people nowadays, me included, don't actually play D&D in person. We play it online because that's the magic of the internet. I have friends such as you who are in like a continent away from me, who I can still interact with and play games with and tell a story with.
It's true. What about you, Shauna?
Yeah, I think it's just I kind of came to that kind because it's kind of like the way I like to play. I like to get very invested, very kind of like in the head of the character. Like my home game, I play a character that's a lot like DF with the amount of like kind of like internal stuff. So it's like I love the character. I love like character interactions more than I like combat for those sort of things. So it definitely fits my optimum feeling of how I play and how I go to D&D. Because yeah, I've definitely gotten as emotional about my characters. Like it feels like I'm not like, weird. It doesn't feel as weird to get like caught up in that sort of thing because everyone else does that too, and it's nice to see that.
Yeah.
You are practical. That's what I've seen. Right? You are a kind of a common sense, level-headed. That's Lynette anyway. Your character in my game. That's how I see it.
Oh, I can play complete garbage also.
Now, Sean, for you, you're mostly a DM, but you've also like had the opportunity to play recently.
Yeah.
And like for both as a DM and as a player, what do you think you've learned from this show?
What have I learned from the show? It was, for me, watching Dice Camera Action was, I love playing lawful good paladins, but I also like being an instigator, and I sometimes can't control myself, and so I was watching Evelyn. That's why I think one of the reasons I like Anna so much is because she does things that she kind of has the same mindset that I do. And in fact, when I see her on the screen, it's like an example of the type of player that I want to be, So for me, watching Dice Camera Action was like, it was crystallized the things that were important to me and what a good player is. I mean, everybody has their own definition, but for me, she embodies a lot of the qualities that I want in myself when I play and in my players when they play, you know what I mean? She's very unselfish. And to me, that when I watched her and thought about it for a long time, I realized that was the number one quality in a good D&D player to me was unselfishness, to understand that you're in a group and it's not about you, it's about everybody together. And then to watch her do these subtle things to make the game more fun, even at her own expense, to me was like it made me really happy to see that, because I have tried to do that, and it was very validating to see, okay, wait, she's doing it, and now I'm seeing her do it, and now it's like, now I can go back to my game, and I can try to do those things, and even try to improve on it, and to make the game more fun, as a player, you can make the game more fun, That's
what Anna does is doesn't always make the best decisions, or make the decisions that she herself would make, but she makes decisions as her character, because that's going to make the story more interesting, and that's going to make it more fun.
What about you, Annalise? What have you learned?
That tieflings are amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely made me appreciate the kinds of styles which I like, which is the very story heavy style, and having the importance of interpersonal relationships in D&D, and how not everything needs to always be revolving around the main story and the main arc, but also about your character's emotions, and how sorting through things as your character can help you sort through your own troubles as well. And you've we see that in the show so much with like Strix and Death or Evelyn and her struggles, and Paulson with his struggles recently and how he felt like he didn't fit in with the party. Like so much of this, whilst it's in a fantasy setting, is still very realistic, and it's something that we can all relate to.
Okay, we got a bajillion questions. Ready? Here we go. Duh Barber 7. How long do you think it will take the group to find some way to resurrect Evelyn? Will she come back before or after the season ends? What do you guys think?
I think season finale.
You think so?
Yes.
Do you think she'll have a new form?
I think she'll probably come back as her human form. I think that's what she's going to get her regular body back, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think human.
I think she'll come back as human, but I really want a reincarnate. I really want something like halfling or tiefling.
Tiefling. Samar maybe.
I like the gimmick of her always being in some weird different body. You know, I like that.
Oh
yeah. For a hot minute, I was like, please let her just be in Juniper's body from now on. And we have like a little red wall.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's a crazy idea.
I would love that. I would die. It'd be little red wall adventures.
That would be great. That would be really crazy. They could give them ideas, I think.
I feel like we could have had a Rats of Nim situation with all the mice being all the characters being polymorphed into mice this episode.
Yeah. I love that movie so much.
Yes.
ID buddy. He's talking about Murdy. Sam. He was role-playing Gary Gygax playing Mordenkainen. Yeah, I think that's it was really funny. It really was. Great idea.
Brings me to another point, which is DCA is probably a lot of viewers' first exposure to a lot of the old school stuff, like Planescape or like Mordenkainen, or even like settings like Ravenloft. It's probably for a lot of people their first exposure to a lot of these older handovers from TSR and from the older editions, which has then made them go out and search for things on their own.
Yeah, it was definitely like that for me, because I spent most of my D&D life in 4th and in a homebrew, so like my knowledge of Forgotten Realms isn't like as strong as a lot of people, so it's been interesting trying to like learn about all these things.
It's
from the show.
It's just so much. It's like nobody. You just can't know everything. I don't. You know, there's so many Forgotten Realms books. I don't think anybody's read them all. You know, so nobody has a complete. They really should have a project where everybody reads those books and makes a wiki out of them. I feel like that is kind of needed.
I don't have time to read all about Edgelord Drizzt.
Kayla. So can you say what your character is going to be on Encounter Roleplay?
Oh, I guess that might give away. I can say that that they're a robot, and I got to do another robot design that I'm very excited about, because I loved my reader design. Like the reader design came out so good, and I was like, I want to do another. So I'm going to be a robot.
Nice.
Are you doing the art for that show? Are they going to do art?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I've done art for my own character, just to run it by the DM and share with all my friends and be like, look at my robot. But they haven't asked me to do the art for it. So I don't know who does that, or if they get that done, or what.
Do you know
who
the DM is?
The DM of the one that I'm in is, I can tell you. I'm going to tell you. Exclusive info. Hopefully I won't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Is Strider Heap.
Oh, okay. That guy's awesome.
So it's exciting.
I can't reveal too much at the moment because we haven't got all the information yet, but you might be doing art for a different campaign, yes?
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Oh. Wink, 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 wonk. Yeah. Well, what do you want to say about that, I guess?
Well, I suppose we can talk a bit about you do art for a lot of Mazmataz's campaigns and one shots. Like you did all the art for Mazmataz's one shot adventure Cupid's Rose.
Yeah, that was fun. All your characters for the sleigh bells.
But yeah, we might be having some more art for another Mazmataz campaign soon.
Really?
Yes.
Cool.
I don't know if they want me to say anything, but we're going to have something new soon, which is going to be very exciting. And I'm just excited for more of Kayla's art. So
yes.
Too good to me.
All right, we're almost out of time. Silverhood. Let's see. Go to Planescape together, and people seem to be in the know on this project that you're talking about. This was a great episode for Nate and Paulton. He really took the fuel from Evelyn's death and put it into his character's purpose.
He showed a lot of emotion, and he was very upset about what Strix was doing to Evelyn's corpse.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah, because usually Paulton has like some sort of like joke or something like that. It was just like, it was very uncharacteristically serious for him, which was really kind of like startling to see, and it was cool. It was neat.
Yeah, he's like what someone
He's
said last week.
Top of his game.
Last week, someone said he was like the Deadpool of D&D, and I feel like that's a good, like that seems like a good mindset. You know, that seems like a nice way to go with the character. You know what I mean? Like he's because not every player is, you know, like when you were Kayla, you were talking about Critical Role. A lot of people aren't comfortable playing their character like that. You know, most people don't. You know, so it's Paul. Nate's a good example of somebody who plays his character just fine. He doesn't do the voice, but he's playing his character in a way. You know, there's a million ways to play your character. You don't have to do like the voice and all that stuff to be involved in an emotional, you know, story, and you can still express it and not ruin the tone. You know what I mean? So I have been so Nate makes me so happy every week now. I love watching him play now. Dan is a nerd. That's his name. Do you think that Nate will try to fix Simon? That's right. What about Simon? What's happened with Simon?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, he has a soul, right? Because he was in the Soulmonger.
Yeah.
So.
Is he coming back? He's coming back.
He has to.
Yeah.
We didn't have all this lead up to him getting a mouth for no reason.
Yeah, we did for puns.
For puns, just.
Yeah, that was awesome. What? Wait a minute. All right, so he was gonna be Monged, right? But then Evelyn destroyed the Atropol thing.
Yes.
So what happened to Simon's spirit?
All the souls were released and have gone to wherever, whichever god holds them, or perhaps they're in the astral.
What happened? Who is Dortimer, by the way? What was that?
I don't know. Like,
I don't know what the heck a Dortimer is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's Dortimer? I feel like there's something going on there, but I had no idea what. And she was watching Dortimer when Evelyn first showed up there. All right, we are just about out of time. Do you guys want to, Kayla, you want to plug anything or say anything else before we go?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at KAYNCLI, and that's my Twitch as well. And I stream every Sunday, and I'll be streaming the Strix comic, working on it off and on Sunday, so you can check it out there.
Awesome. Shauna?
All right. So, in addition to Sean's Tomb of Annihilation, I will be in the Greyhawk channel's Classic Crawls on Friday, 8 p.m. running Tomb of Horrors. So it is my thing to be scared in the Tomb of Acererak.
Wow.
You're addicted to tombs.
I
forever.
I like being scared of it. But yes, follow my Twitter. I will be having art as well. I'll also be I'm going to PAX East in a week or two. I am going to probably post works in progress of my new Strix broom /staff thing that I'm working on. So
it has like a curl on it, right?
Yeah, they'll have the little thing. I'll actually hopefully be able to put like lights in it, so it'll glow green. So hopefully.
Nice.
That'll be fun.
Annalise, got any plugs?
I'm trying to think of time zones that aren't my own. Sorry. Every Monday, I am also on the Greyhawk channel, Classic Crawls. We're currently a few weeks up from finishing the Lost Caverns of Sojkanath, which is another classic adventure. So that's over on the Greyhawk channel. I believe it's 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday. Apart from that, also got the Dice Camera Zine project going on. We're coming very close to the deadline for artists to finish up their work, so we're going to start teasing more merch and all of that very soon. Something also might be happening with Kayla, having some special stuff. Do we want to announce that now?
Oh yeah, you just want to tell them what it is? Because
you're in charge. You're in charge of this thing.
I'm in charge of this. I can do what I want. So we're actually going to have a special pre-order bonus for people who pre-order the zine before the release date. We'll actually get a special PDF comic, which is written by TK Johnson at TK Joins the Fray on Twitter and illustrated by Kayla.
I'm doing more comics.
It's gonna be sad, right?
It's gonna be real sad.
Yes,
it's
gonna be real sad.
Oh my god!
Is it really?
Yes.
Yes,
TK is
yes,
just
it's
ruining
TK.
your life. Oh my gosh! I read the script. I was like, no.
Is the cover just like a close up of an eye and a tear?
Yeah, my eye and a tear coming down. Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, DCA makes masochists of us all, let's be honest.
Oh, that was already like this.
Oh, and I want to say, I don't know if Scarlet Moth has said before, but she has a Redbubble, and that's where I got this from.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
So got all the
weapons.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You should definitely look up her Redbubble.
I will.
I'll tweet out a link to it because a bunch of us fan artists, because there's no official merch, we have made our art into merch which you can get. So I've got stuff like prints of the weapons and a few prints of Strix or Evelyn. I know Maz also has a suboptimal
well, that's cool.
jumper which you can get.
Yes.
Which is perfect. I'm going to announce this now as well. All the announcements. Next week, I'm going to be announcing a new giveaway. And so stay tuned to find out what the details for winning that giveaway are. The prize is going to be a special one-of-a-kind crocheted creation by the amazing Mazmataz. And to find out what it is, you'll just have to stay tuned.
All right. So yeah.
Oh, yeah. One more thing. We're also going to be hopefully having the Twitter account for this show live at some point.
Yeah.
So
yes.
we have updates hopefully coming soon.
Do you think for our Twitter account, should we follow just the core DCA people, or should we just follow?
Just follow the people in the community, man.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right. We're gonna follow you if you're watching this. So. So yeah, we'll see you guys online. All right, yeah. So I got a bunch of stuff ready. This will be rebroadcast on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Friday, I'm playing in something. I might be doing a Return to Greyhawk thing on Friday. I'm not sure. He asked me about some event soon. Saturday we'll be doing Tomb. I couldn't do it this Saturday. I was in Brooklyn because I went to I went to visit my brother, but we went to the Complete Strategist. I'll be writing an article about that soon. The store, which has like everything. It was crazy. Sunday I'll be doing Dungeon Academy episode 6. We're doing the Battle of Emerald Meadows, the prequel adventure to Temple of Elemental Evil, written by Chris Perkins, and it was pretty. They almost died, but it was pretty awesome. And yeah, so, and I'm kind of getting ready for the post-Tomb world, trying to figure out what I want to run, because it looks like there's a gap between the last adventure and the next one. So one thing I think I had a bunch of ideas for a Shadowrun game, so I might do some Shadowrun sessions, because I want to pretend to smoke mostly, so I'm gonna do that. And yeah, so right now you should go to the Misclicks channel and watch Anna running Lost Mines. Thursday, when you watch this in the future, you're about to watch Trapped in the Birdcage, so you should definitely stay and watch Trapped in the Birdcage.
Synergy.
It's freaking awesome. And thank you everybody for watching. And Kayla, thank you very much for being our guest. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. So
thank you for inviting me.
All right. Yes. So thanks everybody. We'll see you again next week. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.